Hey travelers, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the wonderful world of Hydro characters in Genshin Impact. Ever since the game launched, Hydro has been a powerhouse element, consistently dominating the scene. Whether it's teaming up with other elements for insane reactions or providing that sweet healing support, Hydro characters have so much to offer. From the incredibly versatile support of Candice to the dazzling DPS of Nilou and the ever-complex Tartaglia, there's no shortage of Hydro heroes to choose from. So, if you're looking to build an unstoppable team, you've come to the right place. In this video, we'll rank all the Hydro characters based on their usefulness in your team compositions. Whether you're a newbie trying to figure out who to invest in or a seasoned player looking to optimize your squad, we've got you covered. So grab your favorite drink, sit back, and let's splash into the best Hydro characters that Genshin Impact has to offer. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly who to prioritize on your next adventure. Let's get started. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm Hydro characters in Genshin Impact. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The Hydro characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Candice and Hydro Traveler. Alright folks, let's dive into some of the D tier characters in Genshin Impact. First up is Candice, who wields a polearm and hails from the stunning region of Sumeru. Now, if you love a parry type playstyle, you'll find Candice to be a fun character to experiment with. Timing her skill just right can really save you some precious seconds in battle, especially if you want to get back to dishing out those normal attacks. However, despite her unique playstyle, she finds herself in the D tier due to some low multipliers across her kit. So, what's the deal with her abilities? Well, during her ultimate, Candice buffs her party members' normal attack damage, which sounds fantastic on paper. But here's the kicker, she releases a Hydro wave whenever you switch characters. It's a bit counterintuitive, right? You might not want to swap off a character that's hitting hard with those boosted normal attacks, but if you've got her maxed out at her constellations, she can still be a bit more viable in certain team comps. Now let's talk about Hydro Traveler, the sword-wielding wanderer whose region remains a mystery. With each new region release in Genshin Impact, the Traveler gains access to exciting new abilities. However, it seems like Hoyoverse is keeping the Traveler's utility on a bit of a leash. Hydro Traveler can dish out consistent Hydro damage with their skill and burst, but they really need to stay on the field to maximize their potential. The problem? The multipliers just aren't high enough to make them a must-have character. While they can fit nicely into a reaction-based team, especially where the other elements can shine off-field, Hydro Traveler tends to struggle when it comes to being effective without a solid shielder on the team. This makes them feel a bit like a one-trick pony in a game full of dazzling, multi-talented characters. So, if you're thinking of building a team and are eyeing Candice or Hydro Traveler, be prepared to face some challenges. They both bring unique mechanics to the table, but their lower multipliers and situational abilities can leave you wanting more in those high-stakes battles. If you're up for the challenge, go for it. Just know that these two characters might not hold their weight against the top-tier powerhouses in your party. And there you have it. Whether you love them for their quirky mechanics or just want to give them a shot, Candice and Hydro Traveler can add some flavor to your Genshin roster. Just keep your expectations in check and have fun exploring all the other amazing characters the game has to offer. The Hydro characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Barbara, Mona, and Tartaglia are child. Alright folks, let's dive into the C tier characters of Genshin Impact. I know, they were not the top dogs in the game, but they still bring some interesting vibes to your team. So, let's start with Barbara, shall we? Barbara is the cheerful deacon from Mondstadt, and let me tell you, she's a healing powerhouse. With her catalyst weapon, she can keep your team alive during those tough battles. Her elemental skill, Let the Show Begin, is pretty cool. It summons these adorable watery musical notes that heal your characters and deal some Hydro damage to nearby enemies. However, she does have a bit of a long cooldown on that skill, which can leave your team feeling a bit vulnerable. And, watch out! Her Hydro application can trigger some nasty reactions like freeze or electrocharge if you're not careful. But hey, she's the only healer you can snag without wishing, so she's got that going for her. Next up, we've got Mona, the starry-eyed Hydro catalyst who loves to make a splash, literally. Mona's alternate sprint, Illusory Torrent, lets her dash underground and even sprint on water. How cool is that? Her elemental skill, Mirror Reflection of Doom, creates a phantom that taunts enemies, drawing their attention while dealing hydro damage. Pretty nifty, right? And her burst is a crowd pleaser, engulfing foes in a massive AoE while boosting your team's damage. However, she's a C tier character primarily because the competition has gotten a bit tougher. Still, she's a solid support character for increasing your DPS output. Now, let's talk about Tartaglia, also known as Child. This guy is a 5-star Hydro character from Snezhnaya, and he's got a unique weapon twist. He primarily uses a bow, but can switch to a watery sword during his elemental skill. I mean, how cool is that? Child had a ton of hype when he first dropped, but as players delved deeper, some of his kit's weaknesses started to show. Getting the perfect cycle with him can be a bit of a challenge, and his long cooldowns can really hamper his damage potential. Plus, with so many new characters being introduced, his damage has definitely been power crept. But hey, he can still serve as a solid hydro applicator, especially when paired with characters like Shangling for some fiery elemental reactions. So, while these characters may be sitting in C tier, they all have unique abilities and playstyles that can shine in the right circumstances. It's all about finding that perfect team synergy. Now, let's have a quick recap. Barbara is your go-to healer with an adorable personality, Mona brings starry magic and damage boosts, and Child has that unique dual weapon style that can still pack a punch if you manage to play him right. Remember, even if they're not top tier, these characters can still be fun to play and bring their own flavor to your team. It's all about how you use them and the synergy they have with your other characters, so don't sleep on these Hydro heroes just yet. That wraps up our C tier discussion. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Barbara, Mona, and Child. Do you think they deserve a little more love? Or are you all about that S tier life? Let's chat. The Hydro characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Shigawinne, Xingqiu, and Kamisato Ayato. Alright folks, let's take a closer look at some B tier characters in Genshin Impact. These guys might not be top tier contenders, but they still have plenty of charm and utility. First up, we've got Sigawinne from Fontaine, our resident Hydro healer. Now, Sigawinne does a phenomenal job at healing. Seriously, she's got it down to an art. But here's the catch, in the current meta, just being a healer isn't quite enough. Why? Because you have other characters like Bennett, who not only heals, but also gives an ATK boost to your entire team. Talk about a multitasker. Now, if we pit Sigawinne against Sangonomiya Kokomi, it's a real showdown. Kokomi just has that edge with her AoE Hydro application, making her a tough competitor. Honestly, unless you're really craving Sigawinne's burst damage, you might find yourself reaching for Kokomi instead. Sure, at Constellation 6, Sigawinne can shine a bit brighter, but let's be real, most players aren't getting that lucky with a 5-star character. Speaking of 5-star characters, let's talk about Xingqiu from Liyue. He's been a staple in the game since day one, and it's easy to see why. His elemental burst is a game changer, allowing him to dish out off-field hydro damage whenever your active character lands a normal attack. This makes him a dream for triggering all those sweet reactions, especially when you're rolling with a team that loves to mix elements. Now, Xingqiu does have to rely on his elemental skill to refill his energy, which can be a bit slow at times, but don't sweat it. If you equip him with a sacrificial sword or Favonius sword, you can keep that energy flowing. Once you've got him built right, you'll find it hard to go back to other characters. He just becomes too good to pass up. Next, let's chat about Kamisato Ayato from Inazuma. He burst onto the scene in version 2.6, and wow, did he make an impression? Ayato is known for his stellar damage output and those unique moves. His elemental skill, which puts him into the Takimaguri Kanka state, is where the magic happens. This allows him to unleash a flurry of swift attacks, turning his normal attack DMG into AoE Hydro DMG. Seriously, who doesn't love a character that can hit multiple enemies at once? But let's be real for a second. While Ayato can dish out some serious damage over time, he does have a high energy cost that limits his effectiveness as a sub DPS. If you're looking for someone who can pull off big single strike hits, Ayato might not be your guy. However, his ability to generate Namisen stacks and his unique attacks make him a valuable addition to your party, especially when you're tackling those pesky mobs or clearing domains. So whether you're in it for the healing of a Hegawinne, the reactions from Xingqiu, or the raw damage from Ayato, these B tier characters have their place in the game. They might not be the best of the best, but they can still bring something special to your team composition. And who knows, with the right setup, they might surprise you. The Hydro characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Sangonomiya Kokomi, Nilou, and Mualani. Now, let's dive into some A tier characters that can really elevate your gameplay in Genshin Impact. First up, we have Sangonomiya Kokomi from the beautiful region of Inazuma. When Kokomi first launched, she didn't quite make waves in the meta, but with recent changes, especially the introduction of Dendro, she's become a total powerhouse. Her elemental skill, Kuraji's Oath, is a game changer. It summons a Bake Kuraji that not only heals nearby allies, but also applies hydro damage to enemies. Imagine having a constant source of healing while dealing damage at the same time. Talk about multitasking. Plus, her elemental burst heals the entire party and lets her walk on water. Yes, you heard that right. She can surf the waves while keeping your team alive. So, if you want a character that can easily trigger reactions and keep everyone in tip-top shape, Kokomi is your girl. Next on our list is the fabulous Nilou from Sumeru. This sword-wielding wonder is a sub-DPS that shines when used off-field. Her ability, Bountiful Couriers, deals massive AoE damage but has a catch. You need a party consisting only of Dendro and Hydro characters. Sounds tricky, right? Well, don't fret. With the right team composition, Nilou can unleash some insane damage numbers. The beauty of Nilou is that she doesn't rely heavily on crit builds, which means you can focus more on creating the perfect elemental synergy. With a healer or shielder, a buffer, and some good old DPS alongside her, you can create a Hydro and Dendro dream team. Trust me, you'll be amazed at how well she fits into the mix. Now, let's talk about the rising star from Natlan, Mualani. When you first experience her trial, it's hard not to be impressed by the damage she can dish out. Think over 200,000 damage consistently. This girl knows how to pack a punch, but there's a catch. Her skills shine brightest when facing a single opponent. The damage does get a bit diluted when you're up against multiple enemies, so keep that in mind. Mualani's power comes from her unique Phlogiston mechanic, which is exclusive to Natlan. If you don't have Phlogiston active, her skill duration drops significantly. And let's be real, it can be pretty tricky to get the most out of her abilities when enemies are spread out. But if you play it right, she can be an absolute game changer. So, whether you're using Kokomi to keep your team alive while dishing out hydro damage, Nilou for those explosive AoE bursts, or Mualani for massive single target damage, these A-tier characters are definitely worth considering for your team composition. They each bring something unique to the table, and with a bit of strategy, you can unlock their full potential. What are your thoughts on these characters? Have you had success with any of them in your gameplay? Let me know in the comments. And remember, the right team composition can make all the difference. Happy adventuring in Teyvat! The Hydro characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Nuvolette, Yelan, and Furina. Absolutely, let's dive into Let's dive into the fantastic world of Genshin Impact and chat about some of the top tier Hydro characters that are lighting up the battlefield. I'm excited to share why Nuvolette, Yelan, and Furina are considered S tier heroes in this amazing game. So grab your favorite snacks, sit back, and let's get into it. First up, we have Nuvolette, the Catalyst wielder hailing from the stunning region of Fontaine. Oh boy, is he a blast to play. Nuvolette brings a unique twist to Hydro characters with his ability to spawn Hydro drops that you can use to unleash some seriously impressive charged attacks. Imagine launching laser-like attacks that deal insane damage, with numbers often surpassing 40,000. And guess what? He gains HP while consuming these drops. But watch out! Using those charged attacks will cost him some health. It's a thrilling trade-off that makes gameplay with him super engaging. With a few off-field elemental applicators backing him up, Nuvolette can obliterate foes in an instant, making him perfect for tackling endgame content. Next, let's talk about the ever-reliable Yelan, the Yu-wielding star from La Yui. Ever since her debut, Yelan has cemented her place as one of the best characters in the game. Her skill hits like a truck with its high hydro damage, but the real showstopper is her burst ability. This gem allows her to deal off-field hydro damage while boosting the damage output of all your characters over time. And it gets even better. Thanks to the hydro resonance change, her teammates enjoy a 25% HP boost, which is fantastic since Yelan scales off HP. If you're lucky enough to snag her to Constellation 6, get ready to watch her solo entire teams. It's like having a one-woman army right in your pocket. Now, let's not forget about Furina, the Hydro Archon herself. You might think she's just another off-field character, but don't be fooled. Furina has some serious depth to her kit. Her ultimate not only boosts her party's damage, but also comes with a ton of versatility. With her elemental skill, you get two distinct effects. One summons adorable creatures that follow enemies around, dealing consistent hydro damage, while the other creates a healing area that keeps your team's HP topped up. Managing your team's health while unleashing her powerful hydro capabilities, that's how you maximize her potential. Furina is all about giving you the most bang for your buck in terms of hydro support. So, whether you're launching devastating attacks with New Valette, boosting your team's performance with Yelan, or managing the battlefield with Furina's versatile kit, these S-tier Hydro characters have something for everyone. They truly represent the pinnacle of Hydro gameplay in Genshin Impact, and you'll find that they can make any team composition shine brighter than the sun. But hey, don't just take my word for it. Jump into the game, experiment with these characters, and see for yourself how they can turn the tide of battle. Trust me, once you experience their power, you'll understand why they've earned their S-tier ranking. So, grab your favorite Hydro characters and get ready for some explosive gameplay. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.